So this is Susan, that's Lauren, I'm Matt, and we are going to talk about Regideso, which is the urban water utility of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Our first reform is expanding access to the sort of underserved markets on the urban periphery. We'll get some equity gains by providing water that's more affordable than water that people get from the informal market. And also this increased access to safe water will improve health and quality of life. This will expand the revenue base of the utility and allow the utility to leverage economies of scale. The second reform revolves around restructuring revenue collection. Equity gains here would come from making pricing less regressive, and also we'd implement the provision of lifeline tariffs. As far as efficiency, we would try and maximize profits from high-volume users and increase the recovery rate, which currently ranks as the worst in sub-Saharan Africa. There's already a sort of high level of urgency around the need for reform for the utility, mostly because out of 24 million urban residents, only 9 million have access currently.
In 1978, Regideso became a public company serving the technical, industrial, and commercial water supply. And its mission is to produce and distribute water to residential, industrial, and commercial customers. There's about 138 tanks and 6 water treatment facilities, but we've found that half of those connections are inactive.
Less of a third of the residents of Kinshasa have access to piped water. Most people rely on the informal network. Unofficial vendors will sell 25-liter jerry cans to individual consumers at about 3 to 5 times higher than the utility charges. The official standpost fee is about 5 cents per cubic meter. The unofficial standpost price is just over $1. Non-residential tariff rates are 7.5 times lower than residential tariffs. The company financials loss due to collection inefficiency coupled with distribution loss adds up to about 1% of the gross domestic product of this country. Distribution loss is well over 40%. Unpaid bills account for more than 40% of total sales, and the recovery rates in the commercial sector are only at about 35%. The annual shortfall or debt is at about $20 million US.
The political economy is sort of characterized by high levels of poverty and dysfunction, and these issues fueled high levels of urbanization. They've also led to the decay of the infrastructure network, both directly through damage and looting, and indirectly through a general lack of maintenance and investment. They face competition from mostly the informal market, but also to a small degree NGOs and nonprofits. And because access rate has remained relatively stagnant throughout the years, while the size of the market grows daily, market share has been shrinking gradually and continues to shrink.
The first of our reform measures that we're recommending is the restructuring of pricing and the collection of tariffs. Currently, there is an increasing block tariff structure. It starts at 5 cents and then gradually increases to about 8 cents, and then the last block actually drops back down to 4 cents. So we believe it's important to reframe this increasing block tariff and to include a lifeline tariff for residential users. The first block would be redefined to provide for the basic needs of the poorest members of society.
So the next supply-side reform is expanding Regideso's presence in underserved communities. So we would like to extend the pipe network to reach the poor and unrealized markets. That will decrease dependence on urban poor and informal markets. We also want to invest in water treatment facilities. We believe in affordable and efficient chlorination of water. We also want to implement quality assurance standards to stop contamination and combat cholera. So our first policy mechanism is strategic investment in operations and business practices. We also want to improve the pipes because many of them are leaky, so we're losing a lot of water. The creation of local offices will allow for easier payments by users. And the local offices could also help oversee the distribution of minimum lifeline water supply. We also really want to invest in business practices, which could be accounting systems, auditing and third-party monitoring, and metering non-residential users. We'd like to invest in training at the managerial level as well as frontline workers and distribution centers. And perhaps maybe down the line, we've talked about maybe merging with sanitation as something that could be cost effective.
So again, we sort of came up with a few roadblocks to the policy mechanisms we have. A few of those would be uncertainty in investment funding sources, managerial competency, and third, budget negotiations, competition over scarce resources could be a problem.
The state made an agreement with the water utility primarily to repay their debt and also outline performance obligations in the delivery of water and electricity. We believe that this initiative should be extended to the mining sector. Mining is the single most important export industry and a large potential market. The water utility should partner with companies in good financial standing. Our recommendation is essentially to target better paying customers and to utilize performance assurances. Volumetric pricing currently exists, but as we have seen, the differential pricing can and should be exploited further. And we believe that the number of blocks for industry and government needs to be increased and then the pricing needs to be changed.